So you rarely start a play where in 2015 you do the first round table reading of it and you're still doing it in 2023?
2015, yeah.
That's
That's how far back it was.
I know. If you did talk about, if you were to describe the process to somebody and how it has felt different and how a play can go on that journey, could you describe that at all? Like, what's that like as an actor?
Well, I think as an actor, just okay. I think from the start, the script kind of changed as it was moving on, as it was developing. Before we actually first performed it, I'm sure that the script was changing between yourself and Lawrence. I remember at the start, I had a lot of songs, a lot of singing to do. So thankfully,
Jimmy can't sing.
Thankfully, that was cut down. I just sang a couple of lines. But yeah, a lot of the story kind of changed, I suppose, to balance it out for both characters.
But when it's something as, you know, like if you kind of grow up here and you're our age and stuff, and we're doing a play about policing and you're working with people who own the stories and you're kind of going in this process. I mean, not one of us thought we'd still be doing it 10 years on and, you know, that it would still have the impact it's having.
Absolutely not. There was no way I thought a show about a guard and an RUC man. I thought, oh right, this will just be the run. You know, there's absolutely no, I just didn't think anybody would give a fuck, like, you know, about them. You know, like why? You know, I thought everybody was like Strabane. But I definitely don't. I do remember though, like that very, very beginning one when we went to the Department of Agriculture building in Cookstown to meet the committee of ex-RUC and ex-guards, and going like, and just feeling very doing that work, like is sensitive for Lawrence. And I know Lawrence can look after himself, I'm not saying that, but as our playwright, I remember being very concerned about the playwright, because that sort of committee kind of trying to tell you how to write a play, you know, it's or say what they want. I remember just being very defensive about that.
Because I remember having a conversation about that in the car with the two of you. Do you remember we stood outside in the car park and you were still smoking then, so we were all standing outside. It was beautiful days.
How long ago it was. I was smoking. Oh my God.
And that's exactly what you said to me. You know, how are you going to mind Lawrence? And I was saying to you, but I'll mind Lawrence, but I'm also going to mind yous, and yous have to leave the room.
That was a very good idea.
And also that thing of going that it's really hard for people, like particularly those that were around that table, to separate Jimmy and Vincent from the characters. So they think because one of you is playing a guard and one of you is playing an RUC man, that you're going to defend that person's position. And then they ask you how you feel about it. And I remember talking about that, he's going, okay, if we're going to go down this process, you cannot be involved in post-show discussions and you cannot be involved in round table discussions.
I think we got better at that. You know, like we learned, especially from that first one, like the first one was like in Girdwood, you know, and then when you start bringing it into communities, you know, we got better at how to deal with that, because a lot of them were really tough. And the single identity ones where they were just like the hating, you know, and understandable. I you know, completely understand, but so like how you deal with that as an actor, like it's not like.
And how do you deal with it as an actor?
It wasn't nice at the beginning. Like it's not like pantomime, you know, where you're not wanting the booze, you know what I mean. But when you get it's like it's very visceral. It comes at you, and you just kind of have to absorb it and, you know, deal with it. Like I think I got it more than you.
Yeah, because I think most of our performances have been in the north as opposed to the south, so more people know the RUC or have more experiences with the RUC. A lot of the people, especially in the north, are only experience with the guards is when they're on holiday, you know, they're in Donegal and maybe see one or two guards for the whole time. But I don't know, like to me the play is like any other play. Okay. Any other play. This is the character, this is what you learn, so it doesn't matter what my politics or anything, how I feel about my character or Vincent's character or anything to do with politics. This is the character.
But what do you do then when the audience can't separate that? So, like the number of people that talk to you after the show, or the number of people that come up and share their traumas with you, or their personal experiences, they're not separating their politics from you, the actor.
No.
So then, like, what do you do in that scenario then?
Well,
How do you mind yourself? Is my question there.
Well, I think they know that I'm not that character, or if they think I am, that I say to them, well, I'm not that character. That this is my job to portray that character, the same as any other play. If I'm playing a murderer or a rapist or some horrible character, that the audience come out and sometimes other plays like that, they're in the bar afterwards, and people are sometimes even frightened to come and speak to you because of the type of character you have played.
But you not find with this that people tell you their war stories?
Yes, well, I mean, when we've done the show for the Garda Convention, which was all the guards and their wives.
That was in Athlone.
In Athlone, yeah. And I mean, they had, I don't know from what time they started drinking, and they had their dinner and all that, and they had plenty to drink. So they were just divulging, telling me everything, all their stories about people that they had arrested, like people that are like famous names that they had arrested, situations that they were in. They just told me everything.
And how do you but most jobs as an actor, like, you don't be in that situation where your kind of post-show conversations are almost as difficult or as emotional as your on-stage portrayals.
Yeah.
I think I got a lot more of the people from the Protestant Unionist Loyalist community would gravitate towards me. So I got all the ex-RUC or RUC widows.
Like when we done the show in Enniskillen.
Enniskillen, like there were many shows.
A lot of serving and ex-serving, RUC.
And their children.
Wives, yeah.
And their children as well, who had kind of been traumatised by it, or that they had never seen their parents, what their parents had experienced, because they didn't really talk about it. All they talked about was the constant security and never telling anybody what their parents did. So I would be getting a lot of that. So there was a lot of very, very sad stories, or people bragging down where they said, oh, I didn't say anything in the post-show. And then it becomes very confessional. They come over and would tell me, these.
Yeah.
I would get that.
Even with them telling that story, they were grateful.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that.
The writing, they were grateful.
It was
for
cathartic
and
all that.
They were grateful for us doing the show, to give them a way to be able to talk about things that they have never been able to talk about.
And does that feel special to you? I mean, do you feel like, so when you come back to doing this show, as I say, like, we're still doing it this length of time later, like, do you come back to it going, I'm really proud of the fact that there's going to be at least one conversation on each leg of the tour where somebody's going to talk to you like that?
No, I think you've got to give them an ear if they want to talk about sensitive things like that. You can't just shut it down and say, sorry, don't talk to me, I'm an actor. I've done my curtain call, I'm finished, don't talk to me about that. So you have to give them an ear to listen to, and sensitive points, and sensitive things that they're talking about,
So even though you do, if you do try and because I agree, you try and treat it as you would any other play, but it's not because of that. You don't get that. You don't get that when you're doing Importance of Being Earnest or doing The Paycock or whatever it may be, or even any other modern play. You don't get that.
And as you always say, you can feel the waves of audience. Like, even when the two of you walk out in your uniforms, just the kind of emotional triggers that provides. You know the roller coaster you're going to go on from the minute the two of you open your mouths.
Yeah.
And then you never leave this.
The audience.
Yeah.
As soon as you put the uniform on. True. Because I remember, at the beginning, not the Girdwood time, because that was just, you were the very, very first shows. You were just Jesus, just getting through it, And then.
And then you got better?
And then, no. And then, like, then when we were kind of then out on tour, and I realised I was putting on my costume later and later because I didn't like seeing myself in the RUC uniform, you know. And when, so that doesn't, you know what I mean? That doesn't happen, like, you know, that doesn't happen often because you're doing it every night. You know, it's a different thing than if you're, like I played RUCMM before, it's not, you know what I mean? It's the RUC have given me a great living as an actor. Priest, provost and RUC, man, you can't be bad at it, like, who knew? That's all I should have done at drama school.
But then also the reaction of the two is having your tashes. I mean, you've also got funny stories that have happened because obviously, you know, like we've been on this journey for so long, we've been in the randomest places.
Yeah. Do you want to know some?
I tell you what.
Okay.
Tell me.
Okay, I've got, well, the one in Dundalk, we finished the show, and me and Vincent obviously goes to the pub across the street.
Yeah, and they leave me to do the post show.
Yeah, and they Paul do the post show, but yeah, we went into the bar and it was pretty empty. There was maybe 10 people, lads, men, standing along the bar. But they all looked at us, and we get it like wherever we go, any bar, with the moustaches and the short haircut. But in this particular one in Dundalk, I went, right, do you think we're in special branch or peelers, you know? Whatever.
And it was a very Republican bar, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like it was
very Republican.
Like
bar,
all the stuff on the wall, like it was really working. Like it was, and as actors, you'll go into the nearest pub to the theatre.
Yeah.
Like you won't even look in. You don't even look. It's time is of the essence.
Yes.
Sorry, Jimmy.
Straight in, get to the bar. But yeah, you could see them all, and me and Vincent were sitting having our pint, and there was a football match on. So me and Vincent watched it, and I leaned at Vincent and I said, they were talking about us. And he went, how do you know? And I said, I can tell they're just talking about us. They're leaning, looking up towards us. And then one of them picked up the courage to walk the length of the bar to where we were sitting. And he came down and he said, right lads, where are you from? What are you doing here, you know? I said, we're from Belfast, we were doing a show across the street. And he turned around and he shouted down to the bar, the rest of them, it's okay lads, they're not Russian sailors. It was a Russian football team that was playing. They thought we'd come off the boat and come up and watch a Russian football team. Or the one where we recently, was it in Prague? And the guy who worked in the hotel we were in, I was waiting on the lift and the lift door opened and he came out and he looked at me and he went, but you just came out of the lift on the floor I got on. I said, no, I didn't. So Vincent was in the lift before me and the doors opened, the guy was getting on and Vincent walked past him, hello. And when he went down to the ground floor, the lift opened, the doors opened, and I was standing there and went, hello. What's happening? With our short hair and our moustaches, yeah.
I know I kind of forget when I'm travelling with you that it looks like that, but yeah.
Well, it's been so long.
To have them,
no, you forget that, absolutely. And also the first, like, when we started doing it, my moustache was the same colour as yours, all grand, and now over the course of time, it's just white, and I had to use mascara because you can't even see it from the audience. That's how long we were doing this play. On the first tour, so we had just done Girdwood, and then we the first time that we were taking it, so it was the second time we were doing it. And we were still coming to terms with how the audience were affecting what we were doing, and like it was, you know, the different audiences where we were, and some were kind of pro my character, the RUC character, and some were very much against them. Yeah. And then we were up.
You'd get a lot of reactions, laughing. You could hear people crying, gasping.
Yeah.
A lot of reactions. Yeah.
So we were up in Strabane, and there's a line in the show, Jimmy always gets a laugh. It's a great line. And it's about sectarianism and policing and all that.
Oh yes, yeah.
And absolutely nothing. There was just nothing, silence.
And
first time ever that this didn't get laughed. And I kind of threw the both. It put us off a rhythm for a wee bit and all that. And after the show, we were talking, oh my God, like they hate it. It's the only place they hate it as equally. Like you really had to admire them. Like they absolutely didn't care about it. One of us. And we were going to Derry, and it was bloody Sunday weekend. We had 2 nights in the Playhouse. We were going like, oh Jesus. And bloody Sunday weekends now, like human rights. You know, they've really tied it into lectures and so on. And we had sold out for the 2 nights in the Playhouse. Oh Jesus, that was Strabane. What's it going to be like up in Derry? And we did the Playhouse. And then at the end of it, like a standing ovation. We had a standing ovation both nights. And they're only like, what is that, like 15 miles apart, you know, and just 2 places and really different journeys and really, really full on different reactions to the show.
Yeah, it actually made you feel, I did anyway, I think really made you feel uneasy on stage. You know, like, okay, you're trying to get into the story and get into your character and enjoy telling it, but really made you feel uneasy.
It was discomforting.
I actually thought they were going to get on this. People were going to get on the stage to attack us.
I never felt that. Like I've never felt that on stage. Like I always think stage is my place, but it was really that was a very strong feeling.
Where's your favourite place you've ever played, Jimmy?
Well, I enjoyed all the places like Paris, Dresden, Brussels, Muff. But I think my favorite was it was an outdoor venue. It was such a beautiful day, and we decided the hall we were in was horrible, and it was on an island off Cork. We'd done different islands off Cork. I think that was part of the Fit Up Festival. I think that was the best kind of tour. Just I'd never been there before, but we'd done it. We decided it was such a beautiful day. It wasn't going to rain. The sun was so warm, and we'd done it outside inside like a ruins of an old church or something.
Old monastery, yeah.
An old monastery. So there was no roof and no walls, but it was beautiful. And we set the chairs out for the audience on the grass. And
that's what I was going to say.
Our dressing room was like stone, no roof or whatever. It was great.
That was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And we were going back to Baltimore and on the boat, because you have to go to the ferry and all that there. And dolphins genuinely, they swam alongside us. That was a very special memory.
Beautiful. And when you have to come back.
Castle of Cork.
You have to come back on the last ferry over, and the audience are with you. But that was a beautiful place, yeah. A beautiful place to do it, wasn't it?
Yeah. Edinburgh was good.
Edinburgh was the hottest.
Aye, that room was really claustrophobic, do you remember?
Edinburgh was the hottest. I probably had that.
It was also because you're in the middle of loads of shows, the space was hot.
The lights never go out.
Yeah.
Hot, and the coldest was in the middle of nowhere in County Cork.
Yeah, that was terrible, and I could hardly hold the gun, the metal in the gun. And it's just going to be stick to this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, places we've been, eh?
Yeah.
Prague was good. That
Paris
was
in the snow.
Paris in the snow don't always get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brussels.
Yeah.
Lovely theatre.
When we locked the keys in the van. Yeah.
Dresden. You get your half-hour call while you're still in bed. just walk down the corridor, and you're at the side.
Dresden, the theatre in Dresden was it was the only one that survived the bombing. And it was a really, really old, small theatre, but they had the actors in those days. They would live in apartments up above the theatre.
Yeah.
So that's where our rooms were, and these lovely rooms kind of above. So you'd be lying there, and then there'd be a knock on the door, like you go to the stage manager, come, that's your half-hour call to go on the stage, so you could up and go down. And then I remember, like in our dressing room, like you're in the dressing room, and there was like a huge fridge just full of beer. Can you imagine that in an Irish dressing room? Absolutely no way.